Good evening. I'd like to call the City of West Bend Licensing Board for Monday, December 3rd, 2018 to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have 3 items on tonight's agenda, starting off with item number 1, approval of the minutes from the regular meeting of November 12th, 2018.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Any questions, comments, or corrections? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed? That motion carries. Item number 2 is approval of operators' licenses with the list in our packet.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed? That motion carries. And item number 3 is an original Class B combination license for Joseph Stefanko, Moonlighting, 326 Commerce Street.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed? That motion carries. And there being no further business before the licensing board, I adjourn.
Good evening. I'd like to call the Finance Committee for December 3rd to order. We have 3 items on the agenda. Item number 1 is the minutes of November 12th, 2018.
Motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any comments or questions? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed by the same sign. That motion carries. Item number 2 is a resolution transferring redevelopment authority funds to the Riverwalk West expense account. Presentation, I guess, by Adam Gitter. Good evening, Adam.
Good evening. The RDA met recently and voted to send all of their remaining funds, $471,000 plus, to the Riverwalk West project. Yeah.
Excellent. Any comments or questions for Adam from? If not, I'd entertain a motion.
Motion approved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Being no further comments or questions, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed by the same sign. That motion carries. Thanks, Adam. Item number 3 is to award the contract for landfill monitoring services with a presentation by Doug Newman. Good evening, Doug.
Good evening. I guess I'd like to start with maybe a little informational statement for those of you that are new to the board. The city has a closed landfill site that was closed in the 1980s and is under requirement by the DNR to continue gas monitoring and groundwater monitoring around that site and around the neighborhood. This landfill monitoring is anticipated to last at least another 25 years, maybe longer, depending on the results as time goes on. Over the past few years, we've been making efforts to reduce the amount of monitoring, which will reduce the amount of costs we have each year for that. So that being said, we posted RFPs and sent RFPs out on October 4th to 35 different engineering firms, as well as posted it on our website for those to view. We received 4 proposals that were all listed in your packet. Based on the lowest bid submitted and our past knowledge and experience with AECom, we are recommending awarding that contract to AECom out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin at a 2-year cost of $99,000. I'd be happy to answer any questions you have.
Yes, John.
Doug, I guess I should have asked you this ahead of time, but do you know how much time or cost factor was spent by Public Works as far as out at the landfill? Now AECom is going to be doing completely everything that Public Works used to do, is that correct?
No, what AECom has been working with the landfill. The particular gentleman that is in charge of the project manager, has been working on our site since 1994. So it is a good benefit to us to maintain this company, and also, the cost came in at significantly less than the other companies. So AECom's job and role there is to monitor the groundwater samples, the conditions, and report to the DNR, do all the reporting, send out the samples, and analyze all the samples. Public Works is just doing site maintenance on the property itself.
Okay, as far as checking the methane gas and on each well, is what Public Works is still doing it, or?
No, AECom does all of that.
Okay, that's what I was looking for, because I know they used to do that. They used to check on I believe it was a weekly basis, checking all wells and then also monitoring the water. But now AECom has actually been doing that for quite a while.
Yes, as far back as I know.
Okay, all right. Well, thank you very much. All right.
Any other comments or questions for Doug? Doug, if AECom has been a good partner for us for some time, does it make sense to maybe at the next bidding process, maybe extend out for longer than a 2-year period?
That's a
What are your
good
thoughts on
question.
that?
When we're going through the RFP process, the monitoring needs change so much that it's hard to go out farther than that.
Okay.
We do have the option to extend their contract. Matter of fact, that's what we've been doing for quite a few years. And at the mayor's request, we went out for RFPs just to make sure we're in check with our cost, and that was the results of our RFP.
Good.
I'll make a motion to approve the contract with AECom.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. If there are no further comments or questions, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed by the same sign. And that motion carries. Thanks, Doug. Being no further business before the Finance Committee, I adjourn.
Thanks, Rich. I'll call a common council for December 3rd, 2018 to order, and recognize that we do have a quorum this evening with Alderman Jenkins absent and excused. First item on the agenda is approval of the minutes from the regular meeting of November 5th, 2018.
Motion approved.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Any questions, comments, or corrections? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed? That motion carries. Item number 2, approval of the minutes from the regular meeting of the Common Council from November 12th, 2018.
Motion approved.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Any questions, comments, or corrections? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed? That motion carries. Items 3 through 6 are under the consent agenda.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed? That motion carries. Item number 7 is approve the mayoral appointment of Peggy Fisher to the Downtown Bid Board. I think most of you know Peggy. She's a current member of the bid, as well as very involved in the Downtown Association. She's a downtown business owner.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed? That motion carries. Item number 8 is approving a certified survey map to create one lot and dedicate additional right-of-way for Forest Avenue for the former Gale Lands, TIF number 12, located at the southwest corner of East Water Street and South Forest Avenue. We have a presentation tonight by Business and Development Specialist Jim Ranke. Good evening, Jim.
Good evening, everyone. Tonight, we're asking approval from the council to approve the certified survey map for the TID 12 land just south of Water Street and west of Forest Avenue. The certified survey map basically combines the properties all into one large property, and then also dedicates the remaining portion of Forest Avenue that we need for a right-of-way for public improvements. So we're just asking the council to endorse that so we can record it and redevelop that property.
Thanks, Jim. Any questions for Jim?
I'd make a motion to approve the CSM.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed? That motion carries.
you.
Thanks, Jim. Item number 9 is an ordinance amending section 1.47, parent 1, and section 2.09, parent 1, parent A, of the municipal code regarding membership of Board of Public Works and the Finance Committee. This is kind of follow-up, making official the modifications to our two committees that we discussed probably 2 months ago or so. And the gist of this is that each the Public Works and the Finance Committee would be made up of 4 alderpersons, the mayor, and then up to 2 citizen members. And the idea is that we're able to get some citizen input on our committees and have our committees hopefully do some additional work outside of normal meeting time. Properly noticed and all of those things.
No. I wasn't
The-
questioning that.
Are there any questions or comments? The ordinance change, anything you want to
I just wanted to
mention?
note that the ordinance, unlike most ordinances we pass, which go into effect as soon as they're published, this will be effective in April of 2019, so it'll actually take effect with the reorganization or the organizational meeting after the election. So when everybody else gets reappointed to committees, that's when this will go into effect, not this spring or anything like that, so.
Thanks for mentioning that. Justice?
Was there something about the way we've been functioning, I mean, just because I haven't been around very long, that wasn't working?
Well, the last couple of meetings, at least 2 out of 3, we haven't had a Public Works meeting. And I've had some comments from the public that it's a little confusing that we have a Public Works meeting, we have a Finance meeting, and then immediately we have a council meeting, and sometimes one person is leading it, sometimes another person is leading it. And our 2 committees really haven't functioned as outside committees, really haven't done work, going and exploring ideas, issues, concerns, opportunities with Public Works, for example. The Finance Committee really hasn't, gotten its hands overly dirty on the budget, for example. So the idea is that by
What would that look like?
getting their hands dirty on the budget,
Yeah, I'm sorry.
being involved in, as recently as tonight, we started talking about the 2020 budget. So that committee, ideally being more hands-on, more involved as, again, for example, as the budget is being put together, getting involved in possibly to the extent of reviewing bids on projects that come in. So actually acting and doing committee work outside of, coming every other Monday to a council meeting. So the thought is that the council meet as it does, twice a month, and then once a month would be a finance meeting, and once a month would be a Public Works meeting, instead of piggybacking them like we do now. So the hope is that we can solicit up to 2 people in the community that may have a passion for finance and get some outside input. Also solicit some folks that have a passion for Public Works to get some citizen membership on these committees, because they really do act solely as a recommendation-making entity. They're really not making decisions, they're making recommendations to the council. So the full council will still have an opportunity to review and actually make the decisions. So I thought it was really to gain some input from the community and also do some committee work. Like the library board meets, the HBBA meets, actually do some committee work out in the city. Make sense? I explained that well?
Yeah, I think so.
All right.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Otherwise, I'd entertain a motion on the item.
Can I make just one more comment? I've been thinking on this one a little bit. It was my hope that in this selection of the private citizens for these committees, that we can not only take a look at the background of the citizen, but also the optics. There are many qualified people in the city that I'm sure would like the chance to bring fresh perspective to the
And
council.
I'll jump ahead to what I was going to say after it passed, and that is applications will be available starting at the end of this week online. So if you're interested in serving on either the Public Works or the Finance Committee, it'll be on the city's website. Fill out the application between now and February 1st. And then the idea is that the 4 aldermen that decide they'd like to be on Public Works will review those applications, do interviews, and select up to 2 citizen members, and the Finance Committee will do exactly the same thing. So completely open for folks to volunteer and hopefully get involved. That's the point of it.
And I would just like to add, while it is up to 2 citizens, it's not a foregone conclusion that 2 citizens will be appointed to each one of the boards. The thought is, if we get individuals that are have that passion, have that understanding, that can definitely be a help to that board or committee, and it's going to be quite helpful. There's times where we've sat in Finance Committee, and or even from the Board of Public Works, everything from the little stickers that go on the cars to when you dump your garbage, right? How can we improve that process and make Doug's life a whole lot easier so he's not having to look up 2 different places where they live and things like that. So to do that in front of this group here is probably a little more in-depth than we want to do in front, and that's why we're also looking at the split.
End of this week, city website, the application will be there. Take a look, hand it in between now and February 1st, and then those, assuming this passes, those committees will make recommendations to the council to appoint.
I'll make a motion to approve the new ordinance.
Second.
Your motion has been made and seconded. Any final questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Abstain.
And opposed? That motion carries. Up to reports. Item number 10, Alderman Jenkins is absent. We'll catch him next meeting. Item 11 is a report by Alderman Hoogaster regarding the Park and Recreation Commission meeting.
We met the 15th of November. We discussed the Regner Beach House remodeling plans, saw some conception drawings of that. It's going to be quite an interesting thing. Downtown River Walkway, the work is pretty much finishing up for the winter. There was a discussion, an informal discussion regarding allowing dogs in the River Walk. Right now they're allowed on the Eisenbahn Trail, and in most places they're not allowed in the River Walk. But there seems to be some interest about allowing that, so we discussed it and haven't come up with an answer yet. Right now they're looking to clear up a few issues and items, and it'll come down the road a little bit. Most of the winter programs have begun, snowshoeing, ice skating when it gets cold enough to make ice, and I'm guessing there probably is ice now. They're talking about having an ice fishing program on one day in January of 2019. Lac Loran, they did some updates at the site there, so they're all done for the year, and apparently Lac Loran is becoming pretty much of a, what do you want to call it, a wedding reception place. And so far, as of right now, we only have one date left in 2019. They're all booked.
Wow.
So it's going rather well. And the Enchantment is open. That's open till Christmas. So if you get a chance to go through that, it's pretty awesome to see. And the last thing was the deer abatement. They're going to be doing that in December in Lac Loran and in January in Ridge Run.
Thank you, Steve. Any questions for Alderman Hoogaster? Item 12, a report by Alderman Madel regarding the Historic Barton Business Association.
Thank you. I'm also the vice president of the HBBA, which is the Historic Barton Business Association, for those who don't know. And I really appreciate the chance to be on the agenda tonight. A number of exciting things going on in Barton. We've planted Christmas trees this fall, 2 donated by the West Bend Elevator and 2 by Bink Steinbach. The planting, as far as we know, it was brought to us by the elevator as well. We had new ornaments built by Mason Shear of Naylor's Custom Metal Cutting of Barton. These were fashioned to adorn the large city lights going up on Main Street into Barton. Also, the old snowflakes were restrung with lights and garland by Lisa Model. All 4 of the Christmas trees will be strung with lights and stars made by the Wisconsin House Woodworks of Barton. This was all made possible by generous donations from Bob's Auto, West Bend Sunrise Rotary, West Bend Friends of Parks and Rec, Enchantment in the Park, Inc., and the hard work of the people of Barton that organized and carried out various fundraisers. Our deepest gratitude to all for helping us reach our goal as illustrated by our Christmas tree meter. There will be a tree lighting and blessing this Saturday at 5 p.m. at the Overlook Park next to Rally Time, featuring hot cocoa and a blessing by St. Mary's Church. We're also working on bike racks, custom by next year to be put up at the Overlook Park and along the Eisenbahn Trail. I also have one outside my shop. We're working as well on a Fireman's Memorial flagpole. The park sits atop the previous owner's land, Edward Groth Jr. He died in 1929 fighting a fire. who was one of the 2 firefighters that have lost their lives in West Bend. The other's name was Rudolph Schlamer. He died in 1947. Anyways, we are working on getting the flagpole or funds for the flagpole, hopefully for next year, which is the 150th anniversary of the West Bend Fire Department. Thank you for all of those that stopped by our brat fries. You can see it's going for a good cause. Good night.
Thank you. Any questions for Justice? Item number 13, report by City Administrator Jay Shambo regarding the Airport Commission meeting.
The Airport Commission met in early November. They discussed the transfer of a lease of one of the hangars. Pretty exciting stuff. And then also the expansion discussion continues. We'll know more. The next big meeting for the city is in January. The city, Mark, myself, and our airport manager, Mike, are heading to the FAA to meet with them and discuss the environmental study, which is the first step in the process. So stay tuned for that.
Thank you, Jay. Any questions for Jay? And there being no further business before the Common Council, I adjourn. Are there any announcements tonight? John?
Yeah, just want to remind people that leaf collection, putting leaves at the curb was Sunday. Public Works said they would be going through this week and picking up whatever was placed out, but after that, they will not be going through. They can be brought out to the drop-off. I want to compliment the Public Works Department especially. This year was one of the most unusual years for leaf collection that I've ever seen. They've had snow covered at least 3 different times, and they seem to be right on top of it. So hats off to the Public Works crew. Doug, your crew did an excellent job this year. Congratulations.
Thanks, John. Anybody else? And have a great evening, everyone. Good night.